Can't hear anything. No worries.
We'll
We'll all sweat together.
I can't hear Bean.
Are we good, Stacy? Okay. I'm going to call this meeting to order. I'm going to start by taking roll from my left, please.
B.G. Zimmerman. Alan Johnston.
Rob Dillman.
Olyda Snow.
Ron Goodman.
Tony Rebo. Cody Katzer.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's right down here by my feet.
Thank you, Stacy. At this time, I invite any member of the audience to briefly address the trustees on any issue that is not on the agenda. Public matters do not include any pending legal matters, private personal issues, or private student issues. Please do not attempt to address such issues at this time or you will be ruled out of order. Brittany.
And I printed copies of what I'm about to read just so it's a little easier to keep track of. I wanted to talk a little bit about the recent 6th and 8th grade celebrations that the schools hosted. And so I'm a parent of both a 6th grader and an 8th grader. And last week we had the celebrations for both. So I wanted to start by highlighting all the positives from the 6th grade celebration. The 6th grade celebration included something from all subjects: art, PE, music, tech tools, special education, and the core classes. Students were recognized in a heartfelt and careful way for their academic achievement, physical fitness, and a slideshow was made which highlighted the growth of every student. All students were given a certificate of completion, and the gym was packed full of supportive staff, family, and friends. The 6th graders also got to have an after party, which my child Waylon said was the most fun day he had all school year. Sadly, the 8th grade awards was the opposite, lasting a total of 14 minutes, with most of that time spent explaining why administration and 8th grade teachers didn't think the ceremony was necessary because the students are not going to a new building and many of them already have high school teachers. A total of 8 students received awards. Even though this event was moved to 2:00 p.m. in the middle of the workday, there were still a lot of parents and family members in the audience who had taken time off of work to be there. This shows that we wanted to be there for our kids and to recognize their middle school experience, their academic accomplishments, and their social and emotional growth. I believe this was a major missed opportunity for the middle school to engage families, to honor our kids and celebrate our students' success. While the students are not graduating or moving to a new building with new teachers, the completion of the 8th grade year is still important. It could have been a chance to celebrate together and help these kids have a sense of closure and a fresh start as they move on to the next stage of their education. While I know my child will most likely graduate, he was one that had a 4.0 this year and worked very hard to accomplish that at the same time as being involved in lots of church and extracurricular activities. The research shows that students of all backgrounds, their backgrounds, abilities, and socioeconomic statuses achieve better success when their families are actively engaged in their education. So this is the perfect opportunity to include those families and engage all families in their child's education. This poorly planned 8th grade awards impacts many of the areas that our school climate we send out yearly aims to address, such as students feeling successful at school, being recognized for their good behavior or good attendance, communication between staff and parents feeling welcome at our students' school. I don't think when we showed up, the whole side of that bleacher area was packed with the parents, and I don't think we were thanked or welcomed. You walked in and it was like I was waiting for the event to be set up because I wasn't told that it was going to be so informal. So my child was coming home saying, "Mom, put the suit away." We had gotten him a suit to wear. He said, "My teachers told me it's not a big deal. I have my high school classes anyway. I don't need to dress up. I should just come in shorts and a t-shirt." But I didn't believe him because I didn't hear that from the teachers. And I just think we need to look at that. I'm speaking as a parent and a staff that I think we can do better for our families and knowing the community that we live in and serve. So hopefully this is a matter that can be looked at in the future. I had quite a bit of parents that reached out to me afterwards and for reasons such as busy schedule or just not comfortable speaking out in public, asked me to represent our group. And for some of them, they said, it's not going to make a difference because my youngest is 8th grade. So I don't really want to go speak out. And I reminded them, this is for the best interest of all of our kids, not just our own children. So
I just know I have the youngest, and like I might not get the straight A award, but I'm gonna at least get one for the ABs, like that, like grade ones was hard. Just
Yeah.
the 8, and even a certificate of completion, I mean, something besides just the 8 awards would be nice. I concur.
Okay. Thank you guys very much. Yes, that has already kind of been discussed for being changed in the future, the start of discussion. So thank you for standing up and speaking out as parents. I appreciate it. So,
Thank you.
okay. So then we will move on to setting of monthly meetings. Only one meeting in July, so Monday, July 14th at 6:30, we'll have a regular board meeting. I need a motion.
I so move.
Second.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Rob to approve the meeting for Monday, July 14th at 6:30. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, consideration of minutes.
Well written, very well written.
Yes, good job, Stacy.
I move we approve the minutes from the previous meetings of May 5th, May 7th, May 12th, and May 13th.
second.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Ellen to approve May's minutes as listed. Were there any comments or corrections? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, moving on to budget and finance. I forget who is the official owner of reading this now. Is that you?
I practiced.
Oh, did
It's a big number, and I
July.
thought it's a big number. I move that we approve the trustees' financial report for May of 2025 in the amount of $1,290,160.38. Approved warrants 17,565 to 17,784.
Second.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Rob to approve the trustees' May financial report. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, moving on to leadership team. I guess since Mr. Beagle's not here, Ms. Kidwell, you're
Should we start with Mr. Beagle then?
up.
Ms. Kidwell.
Okay, enrollment, we're down 13 students. When we look at it at the end of the year, it's students that we're checking out early for the moment. Maybe some of them a week early, going on vacation or so forth. So those are kind of the 13 losses at the end of the year. Total, yes, sir.
If you don't mind me asking, how did it end up from the start to the end? Approximately, you think?
I think it was 540.
It was like 536.
556, 540, somewhere right in there, and then everybody got up to 560 and then dropped off to 47, so.
Still an increase, huh? Yes.
Correct.
So today, we continued our work with our school leadership team. Our SLT team convened, and it was a very productive meeting. There were some major areas. We did a lot of focusing on the grant that we just received as a district. We took the time, and every team member, we read the grant. We had some protocols that then took us through to have a solid discussion, to identify the implications for our work moving forward. We also reflected upon our big dogs, which are listed next in that big graphic of instruction, MTSS, and family and community engagement. And we examined student data and discussed the now what based on the outcomes from the DIBELS, Exact Path, and MAST data results. So what you're seeing here is the data from DIBELS, which is the test used for K, first and second, to show reading readiness and where they are with a ability to decode words and to use their phonemic skills in order to read. And you can see from the beginning of the year till now, there is growth at every grade level. So for example, in kindergarten, at the start of the year, there were 22%, which we would consider intensive, 20% approaching, and 57% was proficient or advanced. And at the end of the year, you can see those numbers are going in the right direction, where we are 5% intensive, 6% approaching, and 89% proficient to advanced, which means that the proficient advanced increased by 32% from the beginning to the end. And the trend is similar in first and second. You can see that in first grade, to start the year, 21% of the students were intensive or struggling, 24% was approaching, and then 46% were proficient or advanced. And by the end of the year, 82% of students had moved into proficiency, a 36% increase for first grade. And second grade, 16 students, or 24%, were intensive, 12% were approaching, and then 65% were proficient or advanced at the start of the year. And at the end of the year, those numbers had gone in the correct direction. They ended up with 73% proficient or advanced.
That middle, for that second grade, man, they moved a long way.
They moved a long way,
They
yeah.
really did.
From,
Mhm.
yep.
Yeah.
That's really good to see.
Mhm.
And I attribute this to our MTSS process that continues to grow, the fortitude of our teachers to really understand data and use that data to determine small group instruction, to determine, like at kindergarten, they use a intervention called pre-teach, and it's a intervention that ebbs and flows in a pretty quick cycle based on student data on the indicators that this test assesses. And so I think that's why the interventions are so targeted that you really see that growth.
Yeah.
And for kinder, a lot of them are so new. It's typical to see that much growth from start to finish.
Yeah.
So then the next slide that you see, this is at the campus level. This is our Exact Path. This is our reading benchmark diagnostic, and it shows you data from fall, winter, and spring. This too, we are going in the right direction. So from testing window 1 in the fall to testing window 3 in the spring, we had a decrease of 27% of students were no longer intensive. We had a decrease in approaching, less 9% of students, and an increase of 36% of our students are now proficient or advanced. So we have found this is the first year that Exact Path, it's under a company called Admentum. Exact Path is where our diagnostics live, and kids get learning paths based on their diagnostics and progress monitoring. And the teachers have done a really good job with fidelity to using that learning path, because they recommend a certain amount of time per week on each aspect, because there's reading, language arts, and math. And I think our teachers have built that into station rotations and been very purposeful with making sure this is an aspect of a student's week. And I think we are seeing the results, and I would say growth will continue. That's my projection. And it looks similar for language arts, which is the next slide. So again, the growth is going in the right direction from where they started in window 1 to window 3. A 27% decrease in intensive, 6% decrease in approaching, and a 35% increase in proficiency. And math looks the same. I mean, there's actually quite a decrease in the intensive for math, which is the next slide. So math, it was a 41% decrease of intensive, kids falling in the intensive,
Wow.
1 to 24th percentile rank. They gained 2% in approaching, but that would make sense because they're decreasing in intensive, and they increased proficiency 38%.
You needed that.
Yeah. I think staying to the fidelity of this program, in addition to solid classroom instruction, small group instruction, interventions where needed, I think we're going to continue to see data and student achievement going in the right direction. So the next slide, if you would click on the first where it says 2024-25 ELA, yeah. This is masked data that we have had to snip because it's not presented in the most user-friendly way by the state. So we created our own, we just snipped pieces of it in order to compare from beginning, middle to end. So 3rd through 6th grade students are tested using testlets. There are 3 testing windows. So there's a beginning of the year literary testlet and a beginning of the year informational, and same with middle and same with end. So I have to brag on 3rd grade. They made the most gains of all of our grade levels, and this was the first year MASK was fully implemented by the state. So their gains from kids that are in band 1, which is intensive, from beginning of the year in literary to the end of the year assessment, they decreased that by 29%. Their approaching increased by 7%, and their proficient, which is band 3, that's how this assessment, increased by 22%. That's huge.
That's really, yeah.
And informational looked very similar. It decreased 20% of intensive, decreased 10% of approaching, and increased 30% proficiency in band 3. So theirs was the biggest celebration we had today. The others, there was still movement and increasing, but there's still work to be done. 6th grade did a really good job with literary. They decreased their band 1 intensive, less 10%, band 2 approaching, less 7%, and increased proficiency by 16%. So I know that Mr. Britton worked very closely with Mrs. Gruber, and there was some specialized interventions during their workshop that I feel really supported students in their progress. So that's what we will continue to do, and continue to use the mass data. The mass data in math is not quite as easy to see because it's not beginning, middle, and end. They have 14 testlets that they had to take, and it's based on specific strands or skills. So what we did is organize it by what strand or skill is most common. And so we looked at from 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. So you can see that there's quite a bit of work to be done. Again, 3rd grade did a really good job with the multiplication and division. They had 63% of their students proficient on that particular testlet, and only 13% intensive. So there's 6th grade is still a concern that we have. There's regression versus growth. And that's been a trend for the past 8 years on the state assessments. So I'm going to get some support for the 6th grade teacher, because it's tough when you're the only one planning and preparing. So working on a plan to partner her with likely a fifth grade teacher, working with our instructional coach to come up with a plan of how are we using small group instruction to meet kids where they are.
Will the sixth grade next year be the same structure? 3 classes?
It'll actually 4 classes next year because numbers warranted hiring a 4th teacher. So there'll be a 4-way rotation. It'll be 4 periods. So similar structure, just 1 more period. We're going to split reading and language arts into 2 classes so we can really intensify on the writing component.
Okay.
So then just kind of the overview that, again, our focus is on instruction. Something we added to our big dog this year was the concept of independent stamina. And that's where teachers are being very purposeful when they prepare and plan, giving kids the opportunity to work independently with the right supports. Because what we've observed the past several years, there's a lot of we do, and then time runs out and there's no the I do. And so really being purposeful, and that's what, when they take these diagnostics or the MAST, it's all independent. So how do we start building that stamina? So we realized that a lot of the Montana Reads Literacy Grant will help drive instructional growth across all settings. That data shows the need to continue to increase differentiating instruction across all grade levels. There's a critical focus for grade 6 math. Data shows the continued need to implement workstations or small group instruction during the 90-minute block, promoting differentiation, and also the need for continued focus on building independent reading writing to increase stamina across all grade levels, K6. And another one of our big dogs is our MTSS system. We had an MTSS task force started in November of 2021 because there really wasn't a solid system in place. So that task force was charged with coming up with a plan and moving us in the right direction. And so I think we have continued to grow and will continue to grow in our understanding of how this process supports kids both behaviorally and academically. So our continued goal is to strengthen our processes and standard operating procedures via Branching Minds. So we continue to evolve. Branching Minds is a platform we've used. We just finished up year 3. There are some new features that the company has added to help streamline. It's amazing stuff. So there's a meeting assistant that it will organize everything that's in a student's profile and summarize like next steps and give suggestions. And of course you can revise it, but it does a lot of the work for you in preparing for meetings about individual students and their needs. Ooh. And then it even has a meeting bot that will listen to your meeting and then it summarizes it all. You're not having to type. Mm-hmm. It's like, I was, whoa. And with this company, it's all in-house. Their AI is in-house. There's no, like, it's not going to go out to the web or ChatGPT or somewhere else. Their programmers and their developers have created this everything MTSS system. There's even Dottie, which is a little French bulldog, an AI assistant that you can type in anything you'd need, either for a tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3, and it's going to give you ideas. How can I differentiate instruction for this and that? Boom. I need a rubric for this. Boom. I need to see kids in my class who might need tier 2 instruction based on this progress monitor. Boom. Like, it's streamline the work. Wow, fantastic.
It's like a little personal.
Where was that when I needed it?
Yeah.
You just have to watch what you're saying, right? Like, the truth of it is, even ChatGPT, you type in behavioral plan, it's pretty good, all the components.
And so this is targeted for schools and the purpose of supporting kids. It's not just random. I mean, they're developers. I mean, this has been years in the making. And so they just keep evolving.
Where are they out of? Do we know?
Originally New York, I think, but they live all over. Like their customer service team and their, yeah, I think it was a teacher out of New York that originally founded just years ago. They also, they created part of the program to monitor and house all things threat assessment and suicide risk assessment, including screeners. And so you only share that with your safety team or your threat assessment team. It's not knowledge for all, but it's a place, they call it canopy case management. So everything is housed in one location versus like ours, like I always have to search, okay, where is that? So this again should streamline the work we're already doing and organize it in a way that is more beneficial for looking at historic data or for needing to make decisions on, in the moment based on, oh my goodness, this kid did X. Okay, how many times we talked to this kid on this day, like it's all in one spot. So I was super excited about the additions and our continued growth with that. Our teachers have done a really good job. There's still work to be done, but overall, it's just a valuable tool. And so we also started working on any revisions or additions, talking about our action plan, which is where all of our, what I call the big dogs live. And then we talked a little bit today on our tier 1, which is our SLT for academic and PBIS for behavior. Tier 2 is our collaborative teams that we meet at least twice a month, if not 3 times a month, at grade level meetings. And our tier 3, our school-wide intensive student support team. They felt that everything was valuable and we need to tweak some things, especially with the collaborative behavioral piece, just so we follow our MTSS behavior pathway and that the kids that we talk about are at that point, like based on data and interventions. Because last year was the first year we had split academic and behavior. And so it kind of became a long list of kids that you're trying to talk about in 30 minutes. And so I think just revising that and then having some accountability with follow through on next steps was some suggestions made today by the team. So then our tier 3 was that team was brand new this year, even though I kind of kicked and screamed at first and having to have another meeting. It's been one of the most beneficial meetings we have integrated, and it happens weekly, Thursday mornings, 7:15, 7:45. But we have a core group of teachers that do a great job of problem solving based on data. So we're moving forward.
Positive referral lunch. These are our winners for the month of May. Again, McDonald's donates. We are very gracious that they do that for us. And we had, if I remember correctly, this one of the 6.
It's just neat to see the smiley faces.
Oh, positive, we had 32.
32 positive referrals from the teachers this month. So,
Wow.
And 50 last month.
behaviors, patterns, trends, and responses. The big one this month was threats, student-to-student threats. There were 7 events involving 11 students. The threat assessments done on each event. The counselors, both Ms. Katzer and Ms. Lee, provide those for us, tag team those students on that. There's a screener that they use. And all of this will live under that umbrella in MTSS that we had just talked about, Janine just had mentioned. And then the team is Ms. Kidwell, myself, Ms. Katzer, Ms. Lee, and the teacher and parents of the students. And then in each case, there was in-school suspension. Sexual harassment, there were 6 events last month of sexual harassment involving 14 different students. Now the 11 and 14 students, it could also be, it's also the victim is also counted in that. So it's kind of misleading when it says 14 students that were involved in sexual harassment. It was 14 in the event altogether. Working with school counselors in some cases, teaching them a better way to behave from the principal end of it, and in school suspensions as well. Behavioral referrals. and safety plans. So recess behaviors have always been a big ticket item in our building. When you have 100 and some kids on the playground and 2 adults, 1 adult, so it always seems to be a problem. So we're going to really look at zoning out the play areas. So we have 4 zones, most likely on the front playground, when each one of those zones is going to have an adult in it to have that zone opened up. So we could have up to 4 adults out there on the playground. Sometimes at lunch recess, we had up to 5 or 6 adults, which definitely benefit the kids and especially those struggling students. I try to be out there almost every lunch recess for an hour and 40 minutes between all 7 grades. It becomes a long time. Sometimes I'm pulled elsewhere. I'm not there all the time. And in fact, I had one student that had to go in if I wasn't on the playground with them. So this will accommodate students that struggle. Moderate behavior incidents, May and June. So we had, I believe it was partially due to the fact that we had a lot of other events going on. Kids were trying to make sure that they could attend their field trips, that type of thing. But also it was a 3 weeks instead of 4-week time period. And defiance and disrespect was the biggest moderate behavior again this month. And defiance and disrespect was all the way through, all year long, in the classroom as well. And then major events, physical aggression, it's usually the top one, and it is again this month, of 51 major events. We had a silverware drive. LES silverware donation drive was a success. Thanks to everyone that helped to make the event a success at LES. Kindergarten had 155 pieces of silverware, and you can see 3rd grade, 394 pieces of silverware that the families donated. It was a great success for the school.
And so that falls under our the family community engagement, which our goal is to create strong school home communication, bridge partnerships to support students via family community involvement. So we felt this was an example of reaching out and involving many.
Teamwork.
Yep.
Don't throw it in the garbage can.
There are a lot of them.
We're proving with that, but that's,
Yes.
but it's great to use real silverware
Yep.
instead of plasticware. Yeah. So we were grateful for the families and community donating 1,000 pieces. So then we also had a tree talk for our grade 3 students. They do a whole unit where these guys, they come, Mr. Cole and Mr. Johnson come and explain all kinds of different things tree to them. And then it culminates in where they actually do a tree walk. This year they did it in Pioneer Park the last week of school.
And the annual water fine.
Oh.
Forest Service graciously gives their time
Yes.
to us as well as others. We did have a board member come join us this year. Tony came and joined us. Turned the water off on the fire truck.
Thanks, Tony. That was good.
I got those guys good too.
It was a great time. We went through 1,500 gallons of one of the fire trucks in 30 minutes.
Is that you?
That is me, yeah. And 2 police officers joined us, as well as firefighters from Forest Service.
I think that's great.
If you want to join us next year, it's a great time.
I'll tell you a little story, is that those guys on the right, when I was running around with the kids, it was soaking wet. When I came back, none of them were wet. And I'd asked them, and they said, well, the kids getting close enough to us with a hose. So I got Kyle,
And
Mr. Hanna to gather all the kids in the middle and fill everything up. And then I snuck around behind them. And then I gave the signal, and they all bull rushed them, and I shut their pump off in their truck. So the kids overtook them and got them good. It was awesome.
Perfect.
And then just 2 general updates. We do have a small team heading to Bozeman for the OPI Summer Institute, which is the 16th through the 19th of June. And then all of our staffing positions have been filled for teaching. We have a current posting for a .5 instructional coach. And hopefully interviews will be in like June for that is the goal.
Yay, we like to hear all staffed. Okay, thank you guys. Ms. Rosheen, do you have anything?
I do. I'm not sure what Mr. Beaver's going to share. Probably testing the graduation ceremony. I don't have a slideshow. Mr. Beagle said, "Hey, let's just do slideshows." I said, "I'm okay with that, but I can talk as long as you want me to talk." And the information on the front page is what I'm going to discuss. And again, I'm not sure exactly what Mr. Beagle is going to speak about. The first thing just kind of happened throughout the entire year. The data for the referrals, 9th was a challenging grade, which probably any freshman teacher can attest to that. I was teaching freshmen. Throughout the whole year, even as I pulled the data from our Swiss program, it's usually typical, I believe, throughout the country, 7th through 12th as far as the girls. But 9th was above 8th grade. Almost 100 more, like it says. Attendance Matter Awards that we give every 4 weeks. Seniors, I think, almost won almost every year, or every 4 weeks this year. So they're competing against the other grades. In the last 4 weeks, they were at 90%. 7th graders at 89.3. They competed with the 8th graders. So this past reward was ice cream. This coming Wednesday, we're going to have a staff meeting. We've invited any para or any staff member, teachers to come in. We're going to start discussing some things from our handbook and our planning for next year. So that's this upcoming Wednesday. And those are the breakdown of who's going to be there as far as their description for their position. The summer athletics calendar, moving into athletics. Any questions about 1 through 3?
What time is that meeting again, Mr. Rosheen?
It is 9 to 12.
12, guys.
It's at the very end of that number 3.
Yep, got it.
Yeah, 9 to 12. Yeah, you can probably have this. Yeah.
You can use that and then when you're.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
I can forward this to you too.
Okay.
Yes, that means 9 to 12. So we're excited about that. We already have an agenda set we've worked on to discuss things. Summer athletics, it's a busy calendar. I attached that calendar. You can see where our varsity coaches are having open gyms. The champ camp's going right now for basketball. The little ones up through 8th grade are having camp. And it goes all the way through August. The weight room, when it's open, I think every varsity coach is doing something. What's not on here is tennis. I think Wednesday and Sunday is when they have open courts. But that didn't make it to the calendar. I asked Kyle about that this morning. Just had a homeschool ask me today about joining soccer. He's a senior. He's running cross country for us. And he's hoping to make the Monday night open soccer conditioning and open playing time that Coach Martin does on Monday nights. What's there on that front page is just a little bit what we're doing with the middle schoolers. We're continuing to last year. There's their schedule Monday through Friday. 6th, 7th, and 8th graders have all been invited to come up. And again, towards the bottom past Friday, it says, if they are able to attend 10 of the open gyms, they'll be invited to celebration of a late day in August. The Lager Booster Club is free to purchase food, provide Lager bus transportation. If they're able to attend 15 of the open gym and activities that are scheduled, they will earn their Boots t-shirt provided by the Lager Booster Club. That's all I have for you.
Okay,
Any questions?
busy
Yes.
summer.
Is your staff meeting then, is that
No, it's,
like,
oh, so go ahead. Sorry.
is that like the grade school's leadership meeting? Is that the comparable?
This one coming up on Wednesday?
Yeah.
No, this one's pretty unique. It's all going to be based on planning for next year and changes, things that we want to focus in on that we've struggled with or want to see if we can improve on for academic and behavior. We have our tier 1 meeting and tier 2 meeting, grade level meetings. The middle school meets 2 times a month. And then our tier 3 meets weekly. We call our SARC, our Student at Risk Committee. And we have the chief of police, usually someone from the sheriff department, probation officers, the administration, and both counselors. So for the tier 3, the higher students are at risk. We meet weekly in the morning. And then we get a report back from teachers twice a month, or twice a month for sure, for any students, they fall at a risk going to a tier 2 that needs some extra prevention or intervention. And the high school teachers meet twice a week too. So all the ninth grade teachers, sometimes the ninth and 10th are combined, because there's many teachers that are teaching more than one grade level. It's a little easier for the teachers even in the middle school. We're going to replace a full 7th grade English teacher, and we had 3 different teachers, 2 different high school teachers teaching 7th grade English. Sometimes they can make that mean, sometimes they can't, but they give us their input. And they pass those notes on to us, looking at students that they're concerned about. So, great question. Anything else?
I know that they like to have the weight room open, but who is there to supervise?
Different coaches, their schedule, we give them a calendar and they signed up. So different varsity coaches.
So it's the varsity coaches?
Yeah, varsity or assistant coaches.
Okay.
Yep, and I know
Because that's,
one of the assistant football coaches is actually there from 6 to 7:15.
Mr. Stapley.
Yes, Mr. Stapler. So kids, another opportunity, if they go to work at 8 o'clock, they can get in there early. They're using a program from the University of Montana that they're showing them, I think we got it from a couple of years ago that we're asking them to follow. Yeah, I'm not sure what the attendance has been like last few days, but that's a big important. I mean, championship teams are built in the off season, in the season, so there's a lot of encouragement to get kids in there. Yeah, but there's always an adult in there. Yeah, a lot of times more than one coach is in there too.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. O'Sheen? All right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, then moving on, I guess.
You want me to do it?
It's down here.
Oh.
We're not too long. You have to give your report.
Only if you want me to.
Is this a trick question? I'm confused. Yes, how about you give your report?
Okay, go ahead and click the next slide. We've got building and ground projects coming up this summer. Of course, the school upgrades. Upstairs is going to be a big deal. The upstairs hasn't been painted, I think, since 1950. And it looks pretty good until we put lights upstairs, and then it didn't look as good. And so really trying to, as they're getting everything geared up for the charter school, instead of having, we had at one point this year in the alternative school, 37 students. We're going to be planning on having more than 40. At this point, we have 45 students that are on the list. And so pretty positive that we're going to be able to break the 40 barrier. And that's one of our criteria. But getting it just cleaned up, and we got some new furniture ordering. We've got a lower grant in for the furniture. And it's just, we want it to look physically much better. Moving on the other project, roof replacement at Libby Middle High School Library. And then also the update on that is the brown pod roof at the elementary school. We're going to have that refurbished. So we're going to get 2 roofs done, and that's honestly a pretty big chunk of change. And I'm just pretty happy that we had the money to do that. There is only one thing worse than bad sidewalks, and that is roofs that leak. It's just everything just goes downhill pretty quickly. And again, our big goal is to keep the building roofs being able to refurbish. We can replace a roof. You can put a brand new roof on, but at the elementary school, it's used that to all the pods of the same size. It's about $500,000 to replace a roof. It is about $250,000, a little less than that, to refurbish it, and then it has a 20-year warranty.
and that's not the whole school, that's one.
One pod, like the yellow pod or the.
Yes.
And all those pods are the same, so I use that because everybody can kind of get their mind around that. If you're looking at the roofs at the high school, they're all different sizes. But it's just incredibly expensive, and a lot of our roofs are pretty old, especially the library. That roof is very old, and we have a new membrane going over the top of it. So if they would have had to tear that up and put everything down, we're talking $500,000 for that. It is crazy numbers, and I don't see that going anywhere else. Other project, on number 3 down the left, faucet lighting at LES. So we have a Stronger Connections grant, that we use that grant to put the safety entrances at the school doors, because the doors don't lock, they're not safe, and it's all about safety. The other thing is, so if we can get this through, we've got a quote, I have to get a quote from an electrician, they should be giving it to me, I was out there last week. Electrician should give me the quote, and then at that point, it'd be really great to go ahead and put lighting, where the kids get dropped off on the buses.
You're gonna put them along that fence line, is that what you're?
Yep. Yep, your original plan.
Okay. We were still pursuing it, that's why I want to make sure at parent council level, so.
Well, keep
Okay.
pursuing it, don't stop. But, yeah, I think that's a good possibility. Of course, the bleachers and track, like bleachers, track and the football field, those are basically done at this point, and it looks really, really good. The only thing I would have to complain about is, I was out there the other day and it was hot, oh my gosh, you need sunglasses. But that's just hardly ever gonna take place at a football game. There's just not very many of that, those days. And other than that, it was really good. Yeah, so waiting for the estimate on that. Next slide. Oh, the Summer Institute, I'm very excited about this. We have, I think we have nine or 10 people coming. We have a bunch of people from the elementary school, from middle school, from high school, and charter school upstairs as well. And I had to put this in there just because, well, what are you going to look at? And at first, I looked at this Kent McIntosh, and I thought that was J.D. Vance. I thought he was one of our keynote speakers. So that's worth going to see. So I really believe that this is going to be a great time for us to collaborate, a great time for us to plan. And again, I've been to this training, I don't know, 10, 15 times, something like that. The people that are there are top notch. They're leaders in the nation, and it's just a real opportunity to have some really sharp people give us a lot of ideas. I'm really hoping that this will be a great opportunity for us as a school to not only learn individually, but then also sit and collaborate together. I think that's going to be really important. I think that's next. If there's a next slide, I'm not sure here. Good. Yeah, there's the parent communication. Just big numbers. Elementary school, 851. Middle high school, 286. That was one of our big goals with our strategic planning, was to increase communication with parents. And at this point, I have not heard anybody complain about Parent Square. I myself like it. I send out 1 or 2 a week on a regular basis, and it's quick and it's easy. It's just really worthwhile. Next slide. There's one. There he is. Work to be completed. We have negotiations on June 12th, and we've settled on salaries. We just need a few other items on that. Hope it will be not too difficult. New teacher evaluation, not a new teacher evaluation that is new, excuse me, that's a bad sentence. One of the things that we're going to try and have an agreement with with the negotiation is a comprehensive tool to help us with teacher evaluations, but also planning. So the actual document that the Office of Public Instruction has, it's not just an evaluation tool. It's also a planning tool that we can use. So that new teacher evaluation tool would be an incredibly good tool for us as a school district to have goals that are consistent across the grade levels and throughout the district. The more I look at it, the more it looks like a really, really great deal. And I just can't imagine that we would have any problems in implementing that and approving that at negotiations. We talked about the improvement plan, that's going to help us with that. Principal search continues. A couple people applied today, and I would just say this much: no need to panic. I do believe, Mrs. Kidwell, we hired you in July, right?
And me in mid-July.
And you in mid-July.
Yeah.
So we don't want to get
I was
wobbly.
assistant principal first, but never did that role.
What's that now?
You hired me as assistant principal first, but I never did that role here.
Yeah, we got rid of that.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's true.
I had to interview 2 times.
Yeah, I think I should. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I don't know if we actually hired you at that one. And then we turned around and said, I think you need to switch
Yeah,
roles
you
here.
want me to do it where I was coming up here. to
So
just-
there's no need to panic at this point, and there is contingency planning that is taking place as well. So, I guess I've been through this enough that it'd be really nice to have this process done, and it seems like it has changed. Used to be in the spring, if we had an administrator, we would put get it advertised, and then we'd take the top 5, and then we would interview them. Now we have people struggling in here and there, and tried our best with another one, but they walked away from the job. So anyway, but bottom line is, I think we're going to be just fine. We have contingency plans regardless, and I said we just don't need to get too worried at this point and make a bad decision hiring somebody that's not the right person. So that's about it.
That's it.
Yes. Any questions?
You do have the fire alarm system going in at the elementary.
Oh, yes.
You should-
They've been there,
Working night
they've
and
been
day.
every day they've been in there. Over
You
the
know-
weekend, they were in there.
You should see what they've done in 3 days.
Oh, so I'm glad to hear that. So I know that is a big building.
Yep.
And not only is it big, but it has high ceilings and every one of those beams has to have a smoke detector on it. So it's a deal. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that they're going at it. I need to run over there and take a peek tomorrow.
How long is that supposed to take them?
Before school starts?
They're
All
hoping-
summer?
first day of
Okay,
school.
fair
It's gonna
enough.
be-
That's
it's
what I
gonna be-
wondered.
It's gonna be a deal. And the truth of it is, I think we came out on that pretty good because we didn't have to, they're gonna do their own conduit. That would have been easy, another $100,000 if we had to have outside people do the conduit. So yeah, to have big 3 projects. In the past, we've had a bunch of little projects going on. We have 3 big projects going right now, and it's kind of one right there. So,
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Goodman. We will move on to personnel. We have another retirement. Motion, please.
I make a motion that we accept the resignation of Catherine Hawley as the foreign language teacher.
Second.
I have a motion by Rob and a second by BG to accept the retirement as stated. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, so moving on to staff contracts. I think we're okay to do the first 2 together and then the third. And then we'll-
you gonna do them all at once, or you gonna do?
I guess we can do it all at once. Does it matter, I guess?
Doesn't matter to me.
Okay. I guess we can go ahead and do one motion for all of them.
Including the summer maintenance.
Yeah.
So move.
A second, please.
Second.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Rob to approve the hiring of Stephanie Lewis, first grade teacher, Carly Severin as LES fifth grade teacher, the Libby Central Charter School certified staff, which consists of Sarah Barrett, .2, Lorraine Braun, .2, Dean Herod, full-time, Kira Lesher, .2, Ruth Van Worth Rogers, .5, and Rosina Zeiler, .5, and summer maintenance staff, Brooklyn Bilberry. Any questions or comments about any of those?
It's a hodgepodge of teachers at the alternative school, that's for sure, but it's gonna be cool.
I think it'll be
Pretty cool.
strong. They're all
Agreed.
strong teachers, so.
Very good.
I have a question. Is .2 like 2 hours? An
Point-
8-hour day or
Well,
6-hour one?
it's, yeah, so well, 0.5 is gonna be halftime, 0.2 is
So Miss Leslie will be there throughout the whole
periods.
week, 2 hours?
2 periods. 2 periods.
Not per day though.
They're 90-minute periods. No,
These,
good question.
Go ahead.
are these all teachers then and no admin?
Kira's a counselor.
Yeah, good question. So Mrs. Ruth Van Worth Rogers is gonna be, she is an administrator, but she's also a teacher. So she will be filling the requirement for having percentage administration that they're gonna have for that school. In the past, this school has just been an extension of the high school, meaning Mr. Rochine was the assistant principal. The charter school will actually be a school, and so we have to have accreditation standards. So for 40 kids, you don't have to have a full administrator, you have to have a percentage of administrator. If that makes any sense.
So she's going to teach one period and then be
Two
administration
others,
the two other periods.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, yeah, and again, we have to meet accreditation standards, but the really slick thing about it is being able to pick up some of these retired teachers who can't teach full-time because of requirements that they have as far as retirement. So we're picking these people up and picking up a lot of experience, and I think it's going to be really, really a great deal for us. When I retire, I might try and get a job up there too. So, yeah, that whole issue of it's a percentage that they have to have. So, okay. And the same thing for the counselor. That's the deal.
Will that shorten us over at the other school then by pulling that counselor?
Still meets accreditation standards.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
everything's-
she's the middle school, which there's less students, right?
Mhm.
That's how
Well,
well.
And yeah, the overlap on all of that too.
Okay.
I remember in the building.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay,
Thank you.
no,
I like old business.
right, no old business. We're moving on to all new stuff. Okay, so moving on to new business, then we have consideration of 2025-26 Title IX coordinators, Scott Beagle and Janine Kidwell.
I move that we have Scott Beagle and Janine Kidwell as our Title IX coordinators for 2025-26.
I have a motion by Ellen and a second by Rob to approve the Title IX coordinators as listed. Any questions or comments?
I have a comment. I need to ensure that I will receive current training for that position. I've had training in the past, but not current, so I want to make a public request that I get current training.
Is that something that happens in the summer that she could do before, or will
We can do it in the
need-
summer or not, but if we can do it throughout the year. Yeah. There's actually online training that we can do as well. Just need to choose some good stuff. So.
Okay. Training granted.
She's looking thrilled.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm not joking. I need from an attorney, the most current, because that law is ever evolving. And I don't want my name to be connected to a policy if I have not been currently trained. So just please make sure that happens,
Okay.
as well as the rest of the teachers in the district.
Okay. Follow up with administration if that doesn't happen, please.
You got it.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Consideration of AFSCME bargaining agreement language. So that is what again, if you could remind me?
That's the classified group.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I
Reminds
wanted to
me of
double
like
check.
the road runner place asking.
Uh-huh.
Custodial maintenance, okay. And that was a 5-minute agreement, right? Or that was quick
He
negotiation?
was right about that, yes.
Yeah. That one was easy. Okay, then, do we need a motion to approve it, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, I need a motion, please.
I make a motion that we accept the AFSCME bargaining agreement language.
Second.
I have a motion by Rob and a second by BG to approve. The agreement is listed. Any other questions or comments? Motion, no. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
So does she have to read the next one?
I think I do. Okay, so on to disposal of surplus property.
The resolution, yeah.
Let me find it here really quick.
Oh, it's a resolution. It's short. No, not bad.
Resolution for disposal of surplus property, June 10th, 2025. Whereas pursuant to section 20-6-604 of the School Laws of Montana, the trustees of Libby School District Number 4 may sell or otherwise dispose of personal school property which has become obsolete, undesirable, or unsuitable for school purposes. Now therefore be it resolved that Libby School District Number 4 declares the following list of personal property as surplus property to be disposed of: miscellaneous books, furniture, equipment, and electronic waste. Be it further resolved that said property may be sold by Libby School District Number 4 on an as-is basis without warranty. This resolution shall become effective 14 days after publication and posting as required by section 20-20-204 of the School Laws of Montana. Any taxpayer may appeal this resolution prior to May 1st of 2024. So that needs to be fixed. What would that be? That date?
2025.
So we don't, oh yes, but that's still, May 1st is passed.
Yeah.
We don't have to wait a whole year, could it just be July?
So,
But I need a date to read, do we know? Is it July? I think it's July.
July is the next
Yeah.
one.
Okay, that's, okay. Okay, so any taxpayer may appeal this resolution prior to July 1st, 2025 by filling a verified petition with the clerk of the district court and serving a copy of such petition upon the school district. The petition shall set out in detail the objections of the petitioner to the adoption of the resolution or the disposal of the property. If no appeals are filed with the district court by that date, this resolution will go into effect. Signed, Elida Snow, Board Chair, and Stacy Morley, District Clerk.
Good job.
Thanks. Any questions or comments about that?
I think it's just important, if we don't get rid of stuff that we don't need, pretty soon we'll be majoring in storage is what we'll be doing. And it just fills up fast.
Stuff gets outdated.
Yeah, and just stuff that we don't use anymore, so,
I'd like to bring some stuff over and put in with it.
yeah.
I have a question about that.
Yes.
If there's another school, private school or any type of school that, is it possible to sell them something if they need it instead of getting rid of it?
Yeah, you can sell it.
Yes.
Mhm.
We do that with books.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like we just throw stuff away, but it's, again, we have thinned a lot of stuff out of the shop over here that hasn't been used for 20, 30 years. And then of course upstairs it had become a storage unit for everybody. And so it's just, we didn't keep that stuff out of our, we don't need it, we need to get rid of it.
Okay, I do need a motion and a second, please.
We move we approve the resolution for disposal of surplus property.
Second.
I have a motion by Ellen and a second by Rob to approve the resolution for, disposal of surplus property. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passed. Consideration of out-of-state travel for 25-26 school year. We asked to get these in advance because last year it seems like they were kind of sprung on us. So I appreciate the effort with that. So it looks like fall, we have going to Idaho, cross country, middle school football, and middle school volleyball. And in the winter, we have wrestling to Kellogg. The spring, nothing at this point.
Well, it's not good on that. It's not athletic, but it's if the eighth graders find a way to fundraise, which at the moment they struggle with the idea, the seventh graders, to raise money for Silverwood, that's out of state. Is this just athletics or is it any out of state? Because hopefully they will be able to go, but they.
Right. The plan is to fundraise, yes, for sure. This is just fall travel trips at this point, or known ones already. So that can come up, yeah.
And you can always have it approved at a board meeting.
Okay, I need a motion to approve, please.
I so move.
Second.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Rob to approve the out-of-state travel currently scheduled for 2025-26 year. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, moving on to consideration of Board of Trustee vacancies. So as of last week, Miss Katie Benjamin informed us that she would not be able to return to complete her trustee position. So this is policy on what the procedure is if that should happen. So essentially it says we have 60 days, right? Is that what it says? We will be taking applications from any qualified person seeking to fill the position after suitable public notice. So we will make the announcement and then we will give time to fill in applications. And at that point, we will have to meet and do interviews for each of the candidates. And then we will decide, we get to appoint somebody, so we'll decide collectively as a group who, after the interview, who we would like to ask to join us. So we don't have to plan any of that yet because it has not been posted, correct?
Correct.
Okay, but
If you look on, I'm sorry.
that's okay. But I was going to say, be on the lookout for probably a special meeting coming up because we only have the one in July. So we will probably have to meet to complete that. I just thought you guys were getting vacation in July.
We thought we were getting off.
It won't be around the 4th weekend
No.
It's on the 4th, actually.
Yeah. We're not going to do it around the holiday, I promise.
So if you look on the back of it, it has like the procedures as well that needs to take place. And it actually, read through it, it's pretty clear. But I think the information on the back of it, just go, the actual procedures and what needs to happen. So it's all good.
And last time we had quite a few people. So hopefully we'll have extra interest.
Do you know how long the term is? Like how long would it be?
So it will just be until the next election. It would be
Okay.
1-year term.
So next-
Yeah. So they'll have to if they choose to stay, they'll have to rerun in the election in May. So we can only be appointed for the finishing of that year.
How long was her term? When was it at?
So she still had 2 years. She's only completed 1, but I don't think she can complete I don't think the appointed person can complete the 2 years. They have to rerun
Just
in
to the
May,
next
right?
election
Yeah, it's
period.
just till the next election. Any other questions or comments?
And then when are you gonna announce that? You weren't sure?
So we have to open it and we have to give a certain amount of time for people to come in and apply for it. There'll be I'm assuming an application, with Stacy. Is that where they would find it?
And we'll print the newspaper. If you read in the back, it says announcement of vacancy and procedure for filling out shall be made in the general news media as well as district publications to patrons. So we'll put that on Parent Square, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
So we
then-
have to announce it and give time for people to come in. So within 3 weeks to a month, but yeah, if we
Nice.
need to.
The nice thing is we're doubling the pay, actually.
Oh,
0 times 0 is 0.
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
But I thought we were up to triple the pay.
Okay.
000.
Then that is all we have on the agenda for tonight.
I got one more thing under new business. So we talked at the agenda meeting of bringing in Mrs. Gruber and celebrating her accomplishments. What happened with that? I don't want that to get sucked under.
Yes.
$1 million is $1 million and that's a big deal. So I was really hoping to see her face in the crowd tonight so that we can personally thank her
Talk about that.
and share her story. So how can we make that happen?
So if we can make that happen in July, would that work? If it works for her?
We all meet tomorrow at this, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, kidding. So
Yeah.
we're for sure gonna have that happen.
Yes. Because like you said, she's excited to talk about it. So
Mhm.
yes, we will follow up with that. Apologies for not getting that on this one.
I have one more question. Is it possible to back up on new business?
Sure, can't change any votes or anything, but
No,
we
not
can
really.
talk about it.
Okay, on the title 4 with Scott and Janine,
Oh, the Title IX? Mhm.
Title 9 week, what if it's ever changing law, wouldn't we want the high school to be up to date as well?
We're
It
talking-
seems like we run two schools very differently.
Mhm. So that would be Scott at this point. He would kind of represent the high school.
And or any staff that needs Title IX training.
Yes.
It just seems like if they're gonna do it at the grade school, why wouldn't we do it at the other school?
Well, we're currently doing it at the high school right now,
Okay,
meaning from the standpoint, Title IX is sexual discrimination.
yeah.
And, well, we're in the midst of that right now, so, yeah.
So,
It's all the same rules and that, so it's not like, yeah, they're doing it or not doing it, but it's,
No, the training though.
oh,
I was gonna say, are there other
Yes.
people that do the training?
Scott is the Title IX coordinator, so if we're doing training, he'll be part of that, so.
So the last few years when we've had cases, Scott's been our point man. We've directed our cases to.
We typically only had one, the Title IX.
But I agree, I think.
Yeah, if you have a point man, is he being trained? That's my question.
Yes,
Periodically, annually.
he has.
If it's going, okay,
I think Mrs. Kittle's point is that all of us need to be trained.
that's what I'm saying too.
Yeah.
If we're doing it at this school, shouldn't we be doing it at the other school? That's my point.
Yeah, well, and he is the coordinator, so he
For the
is,
district.
he is being, for the district.
Yeah.
But I agree, I think it'd be beneficial for teachers too.
Can anybody just take,
My point is just consistency between the schools. That's all I'm saying. Maybe I'm not,
anybody take that training?
that's my
Or
point.
do you have to be like a coordinator?
No, it's required for all staff. There's different trainings for admin, who does the investigation, becomes a decision maker, et cetera. And there's a required training for all staff. That actually started under federal law in 2020, when the law changed.
And do we do
We have
that?
not done anything for, well, gosh, B. Caliber came, I can't remember, it was a few years, I've been gone 4, so we need to do this.
Yeah, I think we need to try to
Yeah.
do all trainings that are necessary as far as that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for those questions, Cody. Any other thing pertaining to any agenda items? No, then
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion by BG and a second by Rob to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Have a good night, everybody.
See you Thursday.
4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. It was posted for